Let's start our course of network security. It's lecture number 4 on the topic a model of network security. This is our outline. It contains why network security model is required, important terms which you need to know before understanding this model. Then I'll explain component of security model with the help of demonstration. Model for network access security, and I'll explain with the demonstration also. Cryptography or cryptology definitions. Then I'll give you assignment. Finally, I recommend some reading and websites which will not only help you making your assignment, but also make your course more interesting and exciting. So let's start with why network security model is required. So before going into this slide, uh, I I want to explain journal communication model. In journal communication model, you have a sender, you have a receiver, and you have a network in between. And if sender wants to send anything in that scenario, it assumes that it will receive by the receiver. So what if that information is received by opponent or a malicious user or or a, or any malicious user over the network? So in that cases, it possesses a threat to your confidentiality, integrity, availability, and authenticity. As we have explained these terms in our classes, so I know, but I'll explain them briefly. Confidentiality means that only authorized user have access to get the information. For example, if the sender wants to send the information to the receiver, so it is only allowed to the receiver to get that information. Nobody can else can get this information. Integrity means that if the information is received by the receiver, so no changes are made over the network. So this means its integrity is maintained. Availability, data must be available to authorized user only whenever he or she needs. Authenticity, authorized user is verified before the access is granted to information or resources. So these are the terms which we must know before understanding this model. Plain text or original text or a simple message which sender wants to send to the receiver, it is a meaningful message and anybody can read this message. Ciphertext, this is unreadable message, or normally it is converted into secret writing. So nobody can read this message without receiver or recipient. Let me have a spotlight. Yes, yes. So encryption, normally this is performed by sender. So in the process of encryption, plain text is converted into ciphertext. This is called ciphering as well. Decryption, this is the reverse process in which ciphertext is converted into plain text, and normally it is performed by the receiver and it is called deciphering. Cryptography or cryptology, this is the study or practices of secure communication. As our course is based, as the basic goal of our course is to make our communication secure. So we will be studying a lot about cryptography and cryptology tools to make our communication more secure, more secure. Cryptanalysis, understanding secret messages without knowing the key. As you know, the key for understanding cipher message, you must know the key. So if you have these signs, you can get this message without having a key. Normally this is used to convert your plain text to ciphertext, and normally it is provided by the third party. Now, basic component of this model. So there are two basic components. Security related transformation means encryption will be performed. Secret information shared between sender and receiver, and who will share this secret information? By a third party. This is pictorial view of our model. For example, if sender wants to send any information to receiver, so what sender does, the sender performs security transformation and applies security key, which is provided by a third party to him, and convert that message into secret message, and then the secret message flows over the network and reaches the receiver. So what receiver does, that receiver apply same security transformation and the security key, which is provided by the third party to him, and uh, get the plain text or a message back. In case an opponent or intruder gets that message, so he can access that message, but he cannot uh, understand that what does it mean. So he will not reach to the meaning of the sender. So you can make your communication this way, you can make your communication secure. Now I'll explain this with the help of demonstration. For example, if a sender wants to say hello to the receiver, so what sender does, that it applies security transformation and the security key, which is provided by the third party to him, and convert this plain text to ciphertext. Now this is ciphertext. Without having a key and a security transformation, you cannot understand this message. So if this message travels over the communication channel, and reaches the receiver, so what receiver does, the receiver applies same security transformation and the security key secretly provided by the third party to the receiver. So get this cipher message to plain text back. So here the encryption is performed, and on the receiver side, decryption or deciphering is performed. So in case, for example, if that message is received by an opponent or an intruder, so he can access this information, but he cannot reach to the meaning of the sender, the what sender wants to say to the receiver. So he cannot get the meaning of that. So in this way, you can make your communication secure, and intruder will not get your message, and hence your confidentiality and integrity is maintained. For example, if you want to design your own security scheme, so what you will need for that, so the building blocks for that model is design a suitable algorithm. So you need a suitable algorithm for that, and then generate the secret information, means key, and then you need a method through which you can secretly provide the information to both sender and receiver, and then specify a protocol to be used on which your this algorithm and key will perform its action. Now come to another model, that is a model for network access security. For example, cracker or a human software or a virus getting access to the access channel and reaches the firewall. Firewall means here you have a router, and on which you implement security policies or SOPs. So if he reaches to this firewall, so firewall asks some questions to that cracker or a software, and if he answers, if he answers those questions, so he will be allowed to information system for the resources or other data or softwares. Otherwise he will be thrown out of the system. So I'll explain that with the help of demonstration, that for example, if authorized user comes and he will get the access over the access channel and reaches the firewall as he is a authorized user, so he can answer the questions which firewall asks from authorized users. So the access will be granted to him, and he reaches the information system and he can perform whatever he wants. On the other hand, if unauthorized user comes and he get the access or the access channel and reaches the firewall as he is unauthorized user, so he will not able to answer the questions of the firewall. So what firewall does, because when firewall asks questions to the unauthorized user, so he cannot answer those questions as he is unauthorized, so he is not prepared for those questions. So he cannot answer those questions. So what the firewall does, that firewall throws this unauthorized user out of the system, and hence your system security is maintained, and he cannot get the access to the information system, and your resources will be saved. Because most of the cases, this is assumed that no authorized user can get the access over the channel. He can get the access over the channel, but he cannot reach it to an information system, because you have a firewall implemented over over the edge, where he will be checked, and his authenticity will be checked. And if he shows his identity to the that edge router or firewall, so access will be granted. Otherwise he will face denial, and he will be thrown out of the system. So model for network access security. So these are the building blocks for the network access security. So what you need a appropriate gatekeeper or a router to identify user, and then you implement security policies for identifying which users are authorized and which users are which users are unauthorized. So you need to implement that security mechanism there, as we saw in previous slide, that when authorized user reaches the access channel and get the access to the firewall but he was not able to answer the question because you implemented the security policy there. So you need to implement the security controls over there. So using those security controls, that router or a gatekeeper identifies user identity. And finally, you implement this mechanism on some secure system, because if you implement that system on a system which itself is not secure, so unauthorized user will get the benefit of that, and he will get the access to the information system and can harm your system. uh, uh, this is assignment. As you know that we have finished our chapter, so in during this chapter we have gone through a lot of terms. So I have listed almost all the terms which we have studied. So you have to go through all of them, and if you are not understanding, so you google them and get the meaning of each, because in the coming lectures these terms will come again, and this can create hurdles or make your or can or can make difficult to understand those lectures. So you can google them and understand each term thoroughly. These are the review questions as we have finished our chapter. So I hope that you can answer these questions very easily, and I expect to get the answer of these on WhatsApp. You WhatsApp me the answer of these questions. If you have any problem, you can share me that problem, so we can sort that problem out. Now, cryptography and cryptology definition. So, in narrow sense, reference number 2 says that in a narrow sense, write information in a way which is impossible to understand. So, for example, if unauthorized user get that information, so he will not understand that. Allowing a secret message of secret method of unmangling, or in a broader sense, reference number 2 says that it's a mathematical techniques related to information security, or information security, and perform secure communication in the presence of opponent. As you know that you have opponents in a traditional network communication model, it is not considered, but in in a professional, or in today's networks, you have to consider the opponents. There are a lot of opponents, intruders are there, who can damage your information, or who can give harm to your system or information. And reference number 3 says that it's a practice and study of techniques for secure communication in the presence of third party called adversaries. You can this has the same meaning, but as I have taken 3 different definitions. There are a lot of definitions. You can find them on different links on the Google, but I have chosen these 3. Uh, a, uh, reference number 4. Reference number 4 says that it's constructing and analyzing protocols that prevent third party or the public from reading private messages. Actually, as you know that the basic theme of our course is that we want to intact confidentiality and integrity. So how we can achieve that? This will only be achieved if we implement proper cryptography and cryptology tools there. So no authorized body can get your information, because as confidentiality says that it will only be accessed by the authorized user, and no changes are made by unauthorized user in case of integrity. So both the things will be maintained, and hence your communication will be secure. These are the references. You can go through these references to get more about this topic. I'll explaining this topic in next slide in more detail, but for the time being, I have taken these three definitions, and I have explained these definitions. You can go through them, and you can get more details on it using these 3 references. These are the resources which I have considered for making these slides. You can go through them and get more information regarding your course. One thing, remember that I have planned this lecture and completed all these things, but you have to search more about it, so that you can understand more nitty-gritty details about this topic. These are the recommended reading and website. These will help you not only making your assignments and review questions, but this will also help you to understanding this course more deeply, and this will also make your course more interesting and exciting. And try to use more references and more search over the Google, but you find a lot of information on it. Whenever you find a topic, so you have to be directed. So I have given as I have given you some review questions, so you taking those questions and using these recommending reading and website, you can answer those questions, so you will be directed. So if you have any question, you can ask me through WhatsApp or KCMS, or you can email me. You can see my email address written at the bottom of this slide. You can email me. I'll be more than happy to answer your question. If you have any question, you can ask me anytime. So with that, it brings us to the end of this lecture. So I tried to finish this topic in more depth. Still, if you have any question, or if you have anything which you want to ask, you can ask me. In the next lecture, I'll be covering um cryptography and cryptology tools, and its definition, and then we will be taking some more techniques which are symmetric and asymmetric, and we will go into details and find each one of them in detail. With that, thank you. So see you in next lecture. Allah Hafiz.